Canyon SRAM would set the new fastest time. Could anyone knock the team off the top of the leaderboard? It's Anna van der Breggen, though, the world champion. That trademark kick has a cheeky glance back over the shoulder. Marianne Vos takes the stage. What a phenomenal finish. 300 meters to go now for Lucy Kennedy. Can she hang on to this one? Kennedy puts her hand up just before the line, and Marianne Vos snatches the stage victory. This breakaway group have done a phenomenal job. Borghese battling to try and get up to her. Quagliotto on the front, throws the bike at the line. Oof, that is so close. Annemiek van Vleuten, the defending champion. Every single second counts, doesn't it? She will see the line very, very soon. All about the Mitchelton Scott rider now. She'll sit up and celebrate the victory right through the line. Hello and welcome to stage 6 of the 30th Giro Rosa 12.1 kilometre individual time trial today from Chiuro-Teglio. Danny Rowe is with me again to take us through the individual time trial. Danny, great performance yesterday as Elisa Longa Borghini, the alien as she's now called, took off an absolutely perfection performance yesterday from Annemiek van Vleuten.
Yeah, it was. She really was in a league of her own yesterday. And like the other riders were saying on social media last night, they just couldn't follow. They would have absolutely blown up trying to follow. They had to ride at their own tempo. But what an incredible performance from Annemiek van Vleuten. She's got a massive time gap now going into the last few stages of this race.
It's difficult to kind of put into perspective for viewers that effort from Van Vleuten right from the bottom of the climb. She was out the saddle for such a long time, and to be able to sustain that, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, she obviously had that game plan going into the race. They were going to be going up the Gavia, a longer climb. So she said herself she had to go from the bottom. She learnt from her mistakes in the last few races that she's done. She had to back herself. She knew she was in fine form, and wow, what a ride it was.
What can they do now? Because you look at that sort of half distance, would you say it's game over, or do you think now, if she puts more time into the riders today in the individual time trial, because it's an absolute Annemiek van Vleuten perfect course, isn't it? How are they going to approach this one from there on in?
Yeah, the riders are just going to have to ride their own race today. It really is an individual effort. And personally, I think it's race over, looking at the form that Annemiek van Vleuten is in. She's got to go out and do pretty much the same as what she did yesterday, 12 kilometres uphill. She'll be going 100%. The other riders will be going 100%. And it'll be really interesting to see that individual form when you're out there on your own.
And in terms of other riders, so, your domestiques, the riders that we saw leading into the climb yesterday, is it almost, how do you take a day off in a time trial? Because we talk about that quite a lot.
Yeah, and it really is a race of two halves today for the peloton. You'll have the riders that are going for GC, so this is a huge day for them. They'll be going through a perfect protocol in terms of their warm-up for this ride, this time trial, to go max in terms of the effort. And then the domestiques, it's a rest day. Although being an uphill time trial, it's always going to be hard, but they will just be riding within themselves to make the time cut and then looking forward to tomorrow's stage.
And in terms of equipment choice today, I saw some photos from Mitchelton Scott. Annemiek van Vleuten, of course, going for the time trial bike. We saw her on the mountain time trial last year. How would you approach this one?
I think there'll be a mixture of road bikes and time trial bikes. I think a lot of the riders who aren't necessarily going for the overall GC will be on road bikes, and then the real time trial specialists and the GC contenders will be on time trial bikes. They spend a lot of time on time trial bikes in training, so they know how to ride them, how to stay in that aero position, even on climbs of up to 8% like today's.
Okay, well, let's have a look at what the riders have ahead of them. 12.1 kilometre individual time trial, and it starts climbing quite soon after the start. So out of Chiuro, and then we head towards Teglio. It's a 12.1 kilometre time trial. You can see the maximum gradient of 8% and the elevation of 515 metres. So that's what the riders have ahead of them. Let's have a quick look at the general classification going into today's stage. So after yesterday, Danny, Annemiek van Vleuten now has a 2 minute and 16 second advantage over Cassia Niewiadoma, who did an absolutely phenomenal defence of that Maglia Rosa, 3:05 over Ashley Moolman. Do you think at the end of today, do you think a minute and a half, 2 minutes potentially she could take in this time trial?
Yeah, I think she will. Looking at her form from yesterday, and again, it's almost the same as what she did yesterday today. She's got to do 100% effort up a 12-kilometre climb, and looking at the form she's in, I think we're going to see even bigger time gaps again.
Definitely. So we'll just run you through the rest of the general classification, which you can see on your screen now. So as we said, Annemiek van Vleuten, 2:16 over Kasia Nieuwedoma. Ashley Moorman's at 3:05. Amanda Spratt at 3:12. Anna-Amanda Breggen is at 5th at 3:24. Lucinda Brand, 6th at 3:27. Then comes Elisa Longa-Borghini at 3:59. Katie Hall, great ride by her yesterday. She's now in 8th at 4:04. Erica Magnaudi of WNT Rotors at 4:10. And Juliette Labousse, our best young rider, our white jersey wearer, is 10th at 4:26. So that's the way things stand going into today's stage. Erica Magnaudi, if you were with us yesterday, her target was to try and improve on her 13th place from last year and get a top 10. So she's looking good. We also have our WNT Rotor competition. So you can see the graphic on your screen now. So it's gcn.eu/winwnt. This is the signed jersey, signed by all the riders. And we also have some nice Lisa Brennauer postcards that you can also win. The question is, what career does Erica Magnaudi also do? Is she a doctor, a vet, or a dentist? That's the question that you need to answer. So head over there and we will announce this competition on Sunday at the end of our long highlights. You're going to have to tune in and you're going to have to go all the way through to the end. We'll announce our 5 winners at the end of that one. Exciting competition. It's always good to have a signed jersey, isn't it?
It is really nice, really exciting.
Okay, time trial is ahead of us. Annemiek van Vleuten, can she defend her lead? So those early starters getting underway. Olga Dejko is one of the first riders to go. They've followed as well. So just Shayla Gutierrez off the top of the podium there. So all our early starters, a lot of our smaller teams on road bikes. That's Leonora Geppi, got her ride underway. Again, just like the team time trial here, you know, sometimes teams don't have time trial bikes, but also they might favour the road bike for the climb.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the choices that the riders make going either road bike or time trial bike. But these are the early riders off, and they're not looking for that GC. So I think they will pick the more comfortable method, which would be a road bike rather than the time trial bike.
And in terms of riders, as we said, these are the riders, our early starters here, getting their rides underway. We touched on, you know, the fact that for some riders it's almost a day off in essence. But again, you can't ride too much within yourself. You've got time limits and that kind of thing to bear in mind.
Yeah, it really is a kind of day of two halves for the peloton. Some will be going flat out and some will be using it as a rest day before another epic stage coming up tomorrow. So they will just be riding within themselves, probably around under their threshold to make the time cuts.
So now you can see we're getting into some of the teams here. Elena Miliusuk on the time trial bike for Canyon SRAM. What a job that she's been doing on the front of the bunch. You can see European Games champion back in 2015. She's also won the Grand Prix of El Salvador in her career as well. And a really, really strong rider. So right you can see into that time trial position now. And most you can see in terms of equipment choice, she's gone for 2 deep section wheels rather than a disc wheel on the back. So we're starting to see the time trial bike with some interesting equipment choices.
Yeah, and I think Elena will be going flat out for this time trial. She's a really good climber. She's had some really good results so far in this Giro, although they are riding for Kasia Nieuwedoma in the Canyon SRAM team. I think she'll be going for it today and seeing what she can do out there on the course. I don't think you'll see many people riding with a disc wheel. It is a heavier wheel, so for an uphill time trial I think you'll see, you know, deep section wheels and time trial bikes for those looking for a good ride today.
How much time, if you want to be competitive in stage races that now have individual time trials, how much time each week would a rider spend using their time trial bike?
I'd say probably a couple of times a week. It's more about getting your body used to riding in that time trial position. It uses different muscle groups. You can see Marianne Vos here looking pretty comfortable on the time trial bike, and having ridden with Marianne last year, I know she's not one that favours the time trial bike really, so she probably would only ride on it maybe only once a week, if that. Maybe a bit more leading into a stage race where she knows she'll have to be on the bike to get your body used to being in that position. It's really an uncomfortable position, so you have to spend time on it. You see Annemiek van Vleuten spending hours and hours in this time trial position, and then she just proves that she can make it count on these uphill time trials and stay in the position, keep the power through the legs.
Lena Amelia Suk, you can see there, finishing with a time of 27 minutes and 20 seconds. So the early pace setter on the time trial today, a little earlier on in the day, 27:28 by Silvia Valsecchi. Marianne Vos lost a little bit of time yesterday. Mariana, it was all about Ashley Moolman for CCC Live. We weren't quite sure after those two-stage victories. She just goes through 10k to go here with the climb really starts. We weren't sure going into yesterday's stage whether, you know, Mariana would be their sort of backup rider for the GC, but they really threw everything at Ashley Moolman.
Yeah, and as predicted, she's going for stage victories and then, you know, riding for her teammate Ashley Moolman-Pasio. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what she does today on today's hill climb. I think Marianne will just ride a good solid tempo, ready for tomorrow's stage. She really is now a domestique and potentially has got the chance for another stage victory later on in the race.
This is Sophie de Voist here. You can see just going around that hairpin bend as well, just staying in that time trial position. And it's great to see so many more riders now, you know, working on that, you know, being able to just stay in that that tuck position, because it's no mean feat, is it? You're someone that spent an awful lot of time in this position over the years.
Yeah, but not for this amount of time. I was only racing on a time trial bike in the team pursuit for up to 3 to 4 minutes. But it's really tough. They make it look easy, and it's all about trying to get as much power through the pedals and remain as aerodynamic as you can. And your head is actually the worst point of contact with the air. You have to get your head down, look up through your eyes, through the top of your helmet, and it's really tough. You know, you get a lot of pain in the top of your shoulders, but it's something you have to spend time doing.
Marianne Vos, you saw there, just crossing the line, average speed of 25.625 kilometers an hour for Marianne Vos. So for her, this is, as we said, Sophie de Voist. So the rider that went into yesterday's stage wearing the green Queen of the Mountains jersey. We'll just bring you up to speed with those competitions going into today's stage. Unfortunately for her, she lost that jersey to Annemiek van Vleuten, who took over in most of the jerseys. This is Julie van der Velde of Lotto Soudal. And again, a great climber is Julie van der Velde. It's a really great ride earlier on in the season, races such as Grazia all over. You can see there, second place in that one for her. Quite again, coming from the Lotto Soudal team, she's part of quite an interesting sort of young team that are coming through now from Lotto Soudal.
Yeah, they're a great development team. They've got really good structured racing and DS plans, and they ride really well together. So you see a lot of young riders coming through from this team and up to the bigger teams such as Canyon SRAM, Boels Dolmans.
Sophie de Voist finishing there, so coming across the line. So Elena Amelia Suk, good time by the Canyon SRAM rider. So still on that time that benchmark time that she set onto the climb here. Here's Julie van der Velde, bronze medalist in the national championships this year as well. You can see the Ridley time trial bike gone with the disc wheel on the back as well. In terms of prep this morning, the riders go out, recce the course, see if they actually want to stay with the time trial bike.
Yeah, I don't think they would have ridden the course this morning. I think that would have been done before the Giro started. It would have been too hard to kind of do this twice in a day. They might have done a little spin this morning to get ready and then a really good thorough warm-up because they're going to be going into the red straight away on this climb.
Oma Shapira, the national road champion of Israel. You can see 8th place in the Tour of California. She did a great ride on Mount Baldy up there. That was a great stage. We saw Katie Hall and Anna van der Breggen going clear on that one. Oma Shapira was really battling on that stage. That secured that top 10 position in the Tour of California. She's a really interesting rider. She just, and again, with being in this environment within Canyon Tram year on year, she just seems to be taking big leaps.
Yeah, she's really stepped up this year, and she looks like she's got a firm spot there in Canyon Tram. She's settled into the team, and she's really performing well this season.
27.34 there for Julie van der Velde. Let's see, just as you would in the time trial, flat out effort on this climb. When we look at this course so far from the team time trial, which had, you know, hill in the middle, hill up towards the finish, the subsequent stages, it's been a pretty brutal start to this year's Giro Rosa.
It is really brutal, a lot of climbing and still so much more to come, and an uphill time trial is so savage, you know, for everyone. On a rest day for the other non-GC contenders, if it was a flat day, you know, you'd really look forward to it, but even for, you know, for all the riders out there today, it's going to be tough.
Ida Marino here for Team Movistar, and the rider here from Team Movistar, she lost a little bit of time yesterday, did Ida Marino, and under that pressure of that chasing group. When you look at Ida here as well, a smaller rider shows sometimes the sort of difficulty in being able to get into the sort of position that she probably might want on a time trial bike.
Yeah, as you can see, she's really, really tiny. But it looks to be pretty good time trial position there. But yeah, she'll have the smallest frame, I'm sure, that Canyon do in a bike to get her as aero as possible.
Oma Shapira crosses the line, 27.28 for the Canyon SRAM rider. Big effort there by Oma Shapira. So comes through there, 27 minutes and 28 seconds. So another good ride by her. Ida Marino on the climb though. This is Colours Park Hotel, Valkenburg still pressing on here. Demi Vollering, great ride. Demi Vollering's ride yesterday, she was one of the riders of the day for me yesterday.
Yeah, she's again really stepped up this year, and what a season she's having. Fantastic results throughout the year. She's been so consistent all the way from the classics now up to the Giro. Sometimes you see a lot of dips in form, but she's really had some consistent great results. So the future's definitely looking bright for her, and to be up there with, you know, these real experienced riders is really impressive.
She came in 10th place yesterday, did Demi Vollering, and this Park Hotel Valkenburg team as well. They used to have a men's team. Then we saw them on the sort of back of Sophie de Boer in cyclocross, and she's in this team as well. And I remember chatting to likes of Marco Zanotti that used to race for the men's team, and they had a really good reputation there. So Ida Marino just crossing line, 27.36.19 for the Movistar rider. So that ride there. Following well into her stride here. It's these teams, again, for Park Hotel Valkenburg, we've seen Lorena Wiebes really lighten up the sprints this year, but again, having that structure, having that great formation from equipment, from sport directors to how everything organised, it really makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've got the whole package in this team, and the morale is always so high. You speak to riders in this team and they absolutely love racing together, and that means so much. When morale is high in the team, you can get so much out of your performance. They say happy legs, happy head, fast legs, and it really is proven throughout this team.
Soraya Paladin here for Ale Cipollini, so she is well into her ride, rode really well yesterday to 5th place. She was in that group up to the Lago di Canciano. So the Ale Cipollini rider, so, in terms of her general classification, sitting 13th at the moment, so coming up towards the finish line. Good finish there by Demi Vollering, 27 minutes 12.31 for Demi Vollering. She was in 14th at 5:50 going into today's stage. And Soraya Paladin here, the Italian rider,
It's really far forward on this saddle. You see this a lot in time trial riding, really getting over to really be able to push the power through the pedals at this point.
Well into her ride here, and again you see equipment choice, quite low profile wheels that she's decided to go with on this one, so a bit of weight saving over the aero advantage, would you say, of a deeper section front wheel, maybe the disc wheel on the back that we've seen so far in some riders.
Yeah, I think I'd be going for the lower profile. You know, you're saving there on weight, and at the slower speeds, the low profiles for me would definitely be my choice. You're seeing again here a disc wheel on the back. Potentially the smaller riders might go for the disc wheel if they're not so worried about saving those extra few grams.
Ana Santesteban of WNT Rota, and again she was in that group yesterday, 7th place that she finished yesterday. She sits 12th overall in the general classification going into this one. WNT Rota, they finished, it was a great finish by them yesterday to put themselves up there in at the top of the team standings.
She's hardly looking forward as well. She was looking down, trying to become as aero as possible. If it's a straight line in the road, you know, using those kind of aero advantages that you get for every kind of few seconds, every few meters, that will count towards a great time at the final.
So Paladin just crossing the line there yesterday. Just to correct myself, she was 4th yesterday. It was Soraya Paladin. This is Ana Santesteban. So looking good here for WNT Rota. So they lead in the team standings from Canyon and Sunweb. So this WNT Rota team that was all about Erica Magnaudi yesterday on that climb. She did a phenomenal ride as well. And this team as well, sort of year on year, really growing in stature. Cecily Uttrup Ludwig from Team Bigler probably, would you say, would be disappointed with her ride yesterday?
Yeah, I think she would be. And actually, looking at her today, she doesn't look comfortable. She's rocking and rolling a little bit on the bike, and she doesn't look her usual self to me. So it'll be interesting to see what she does out there today.
And again, for someone, you know, Cecily, she's still quite a young rider. It's learning as well, isn't it, to cope with the pressure of being the team leader when everyone's sacrificing everything for you on the front of the peloton each day. It's a huge amount of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And she's come into this position as a really young rider. So she is still learning so much, but I do think she'll be quite disappointed so far in the Giro.
Ana Santesteban just crosses the line there. So good time by her. So Santesteban is slower than quite most of the riders that we've seen so far come up towards the line. And then of course we run in reverse order. So after Cecily Uttrup Ludwig, we get in towards our sort of top 10 riders overall, which going into the stage was Labous Magnaudi. Labous is in the start line now. And she is 4:26 down in the general classification, just behind Magnaudi. She'll be followed by Magnaudi, Hall, Longa, Borghini, Brand, Van der Breggen, Spratt, Moolman, Passio, Nuvia Doma, and then Annemiek van Vleuten will be chasing everyone. I've got to say, for the Team Sunweb rider, she has really impressed me this week. She did a phenomenal ride yesterday. And
she looks incredible here on the bike. You know, comparing her to Cecilia Ludwig, Uttrup, she is solid. You know, if you put a bar through her hip, she's hardly moving in her upper body. She's come out on the bars now to go around a corner, I expect, but she looks so solid there, had a really good speed on this flat section of road before she starts this climb. I'm really impressed with her.
Uttrup Ludwig up towards the line, and good enough there for 10th at the moment for Cecily Uttrup Ludwig.
She looks solid, she looks composed, her head's not moving, her upper body's not moving, and she's got a really nice pedalling style. She's nice and aero, flat back. She's got all the aero equipment there, her long overshoes, over socks. And that's what's great to see as well. All these teams have got incredible equipment, which is really nice. They're all on a level playing field with the skin suits, the bikes, the aero helmets, the aero socks, and the aero gloves. So it's all about the legs and the performances.
Erica Magnaudi here on the screens from WNT Rota, so 8th yesterday. When we look at that climb yesterday, McNally was one of the only riders that really had the legs to have a big dig. She really lit it up towards the top.
Yeah, I was so impressed with her, you know, an inexperienced rider compared to the rider she was with yesterday, and still willing to give it a really good go. And I love to see that aggressive racing in women's cycling. Why not give it a go, see what she can do? She's obviously feeling good and in really good form.
Up towards the finish now, Labousse crosses the line there, 26:25, new fastest time by Juliette Labousse. You can see there, that again, another solid ride from the Team Sunweb rider. Back out onto the climb with Erica McNally. So just a couple of years into the sport. So as we said, the former cross-country skier, tried some mountain biking, raced with B Pink last year. So just again, each year you just get a little bit more experience, just get a little bit more racecraft, and she just seems to have just stepped up this year. Just trying to find the right gear for her on this climb. Just out again onto the extensions there rather than staying in the aero tuck. Bulls Dolmans and Katie Hall. Again, Katie Hall, that was a beast of a ride that she did on the front yesterday to try and keep Anna van der Breggen within striking distance of Van Vleuten.
It was, and we saw yesterday that she is going to be working as that domestique role for Anna van der Breggen. She almost towed the whole of that group behind Van Vleuten up the hill into the final few kilometres. But I think she'll be out there today to see what she can do, see how the legs are after that stage. Interestingly, she's going for a normal helmet today. I think that's been quite different throughout the riders' choices. Sometimes you find in the aero helmets you do overheat, and the helmets now for the road racing, the road bikes, are super aero, so there's not much in it.
Erica McNally time 26:55.36, good enough for 3rd place at the moment. So you can see her just looking up at the clock. We'll see how that stands the test of time. Back onto the climb with Katie Hall. And again, this has the everything Katie Hall style here, the pure climber.
Out the saddle a lot of the time, and you see that quite a lot with the smaller riders, the pure climbers, the goats. They're in and out the saddle a lot more than, say, the time trial specialists or the likes of Anna van der Breggen, who's more of a road rider but still can do phenomenal time trials herself. So yeah, in and out the saddle, small gear, low profile wheels, and uphill, which is what she likes best.
And again, you can see beautiful climb, for more to watch than to ride in a time trial.
Yeah,
out
I'm
on
not
the
sure
course.
I'll be looking at the views.
Yeah, out on the course here with Elisa Longoborghini. Longoborghini, great time trialist though. She's a former Italian national champion in the time trial.
Amazing engine has Elisa Longoborghini. I rode with her for a few years. Incredible team time trial rider, and all-rounder really. Absolutely phenomenal rider. Her mother actually was a cross-country skier, as was my dad, so we had a few conversations about that. Good genes in the family. She likes to do running as well in the off-season, keeps her fit and healthy. One again who I think is addicted to exercise and keeping fit. But I think we'll see a good ride from Elisa Longoborghini today.
And you could see that in the style, the pedalling action, the way she's powering up this climb. Her comments yesterday really have gone viral about in terms of Annemiek van Vleuten, the alien, has gone. But knowing Elisa, that it has to be taken in the right context. As Katie Hall just crossed the line, 26:35.58, good enough for 2nd at the moment for Katie Hall. Elisa Longoborghini, as I was saying, you've got to take that, you've got to know Elisa's humour, haven't you?
Yeah, she's a lovely rider, on and off the bike, such a nice person. So, yeah, there would have been no hard feelings behind that comment. But again, you know, Van Vleuten is in a league of her own, so they just couldn't follow her again.
Lucinda Brand out on the course, and again another good ride by Lucinda Brand yesterday in the mountains. 2nd on the stage yesterday for Lucinda Brand. Not quite had the season that many would have expected from Lucinda Brand on the road, but she seems like she's really got it together again here for the Giro Rosa, and straight away again you can see on this climb, look at that position, rock steady on the bike. It takes a huge amount of core stability to sit like this on a climb.
Yeah, it does, and you're seeing a lot more strength and conditioning work being done by the riders now. There's been so much more evidence that proves that strength and conditioning work really improves endurance cycling, and then alongside that, not only the legs will be worked, but the core, the upper body, to make sure you're solid and you're getting all your power through your legs. You're not wasting power rocking and rolling upper body.
Longo Borghini crosses the line, new fastest time by Elisa Longo Borghini. 26:19.93 for the Trek Segafredo rider. So that's the new fastest time. So how will that stand up with the likes of Lucinda Brandt behind her? So those finishers that we've got behind Elisa Longo Borghini.
You can see a similar position to Juliette Labousse in the same team, Sunweb team, as Lucinda Brand here. A really flat back, a really solid position. They do a lot of work in this team on their time trial bikes, on training camps, and you can really see that paying off today.
Anna van der Breggen, again, it's equipment choice. So she's gone with two fairly low profile wheels here for Anna van der Breggen. Again, 12.1 kilometre time trial. And again, it's quite, you've got quite a lot of riders. You can see, got the bottle.
Yeah, and I think this will be perfect for Anna van der Breggen. She's been doing a lot of mountain biking this season. She won Cape Epic earlier this year. And it's really intense racing where you have to put out a lot of power. Although it is on and off in terms of the power output, it's being able to hold that threshold, that high heart rate for 30 minutes to an hour. So, you know, Anna van der Breggen can do it all, so I think we'll see a good ride out from her today. She's looking solid on that bike, heads forward, she's not rocking and rolling on the bike, so she'll do a great ride, I'm sure.
Also won the Tour of California. Here we go, up towards the line, big finish here from Lucinda Brand, out of the saddle, sprinting up towards the line. What sort of time she got? It's good enough for second from Lucinda Brand, so 26:21.57 for Lucinda Brand. Solid ride.
Yeah, that was an amazing ride from Lucinda Brand, but not as surprising as last year. She pulled one out of the bag last year, and you could see that she was really focusing on losing weight and becoming more of a climber. And again, she's doing a fantastic performance in the Giro.
It's quite hard to reinvent yourself as a rider, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I actually changed from track to road, and on the road it is all about power to weight, but finding that fine balance between not losing too much weight that then takes away all your power. So it depends what kind of rider you are. If you're more of an all-rounder, I think it's actually better to, you know, potentially keep a couple of kilos, a couple of pounds to make sure you've got that, you know, that high power that you can produce. In women's cycling, it's quite rare that you get these kind of mountain time trials, these mountainous stages within cycling. So I think if you want to be winning more races, it's better to be an all-rounder.
And Anna van der Breggen, one of the ultimate all-rounders, you say, took her record-breaking 5th victory in this year's Flèche Wallonne Classic. It's quite a record in that for the World Road Race Champion.
Absolutely incredible, and there's quite a bitter rivalry, I think, between her and Van Vleuten. So unfortunately for her, I think Van Vleuten's got one up on her for this stage race, but I'm sure come the World Championships, the Dutch team are going to have to fight it out for who's going to be leader again at this year's World Championships.
Amanda Spratt on your screens here again, she's wearing the Queen of the Mountains jersey. She sits second in that classification. Van Vleuten now has 26 points. Amanda Spratt again, for Amanda Spratt, she's got the ability to win this race in her own right, hasn't she? She's such a great teammate for Van Vleuten.
Yeah, she has, and I think today she'll be going out there to do the best ride she can, see what kind of form she's in on her own without having to worry about doing a job for Van Vleuten. So I think she would have been looking forward to this stage to really test herself.
So just again, you see great position on the bike, decides to go for the slightly lower profile front wheel, the disc wheel on the back. Stage winner in this race last year.
I really like looking at different styles for the riders up there in the top 10, and using a bigger gear, using a smaller gear in and out the saddle.
Anna van der Breggen crosses the line. New fastest time for van der Breggen, 25 minutes, 24.03. That is a very fast time from Anna van der Breggen. So for her, we're going into today's stage, 5th overall in the general classification, behind Annemiek van Vleuten. She will be the final rider to start today.
I also find it interesting to watch the finishes, the last few hundred metres of these riders and what they do, whether they get out the saddle and try and sprint for the line or stay in that aero tuck position and just drive through the line. I don't think there's actually a huge benefit of getting out the saddle. You know, if you've given it your all, you shouldn't be able to go much faster, but actually staying in that aero tuck position like we saw there from Anna van der Breggen, you can maintain that power all the way through the line whilst staying aero.
Again, you see the different choice of extensions and the different position from rider to rider.
Yeah, and that's normally down to personal preference. I personally prefer the style like we're seeing here from Amanda Spratt, where the bars are slightly tilted upwards. You can pull on the bars and use that as to be able to get a bit more power through the bike. But again, it's all down to what you personally prefer.
Ashley Moolman back into her orange kit here for CCC Live. She's the national road champion of South Africa. She's not looking comfortable here at the moment, Ashley Moolman.
No, she's not. She's rocking and rolling a little bit on the bike, but she should do a good ride today. She's always up there in these hilly time trials. She's been good so far. Yesterday she was in that group just behind Van Vleuten, and I know this is a personally huge target for her in this race.
Again, you just see the points here on the climb where it just dips down a little bit, just flattens out before we run up towards the line. It's a good climb, and again, a good course. But again, you can see the route that we've got, the climb when you look around the mountains here. The riders here today, it's some phenomenal rides that are going in on such a course.
Yeah, it is. And you can see here with Ashley Moore-Passio, she's going from road side over to the other side of the road, really picking the shortest line of the race, and that's down to the rider. So you have to be experienced and know where the road is going at all times to really cut the corners and make the shortest line up this climb, essentially.
26:40.84 for Amanda Spratt. That's good enough for 6th place. So, the rider in the green jersey as 2nd in the Queen of the Mountains. So time by her. Back out on the road with Ashley Moolman-Passio, 3rd on the general classification at 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Today it's all about defence for a lot of riders, isn't it? We're expecting, aren't we, Van Vleuten to take more time. For these riders at this point in the race, it's about trying to not lose too much time and then decide on the tactics in the days to come.
Yeah, totally. These riders will be going full gas today to really, try and limit their losses for Van Vleuten, but you never know what happens in bike racing. There's still a lot of days to come, and I think this positive mental attitude will be one that the other riders down the GC will be taking. You can't let her have it already. You can't let her be defeated straight away. So I think, as much as 2nd, 3rd place is still an incredible result overall, I think they will still have their sights set on that win.
Kasia Niewiadoma, so a great, a gutsy defence, you would say, yesterday of that Malia Rosa, which she'd worn since day one. Went into the stage at 2 minutes and 16 seconds down on Annemiek van Vleuten. She's such a battler, isn't she?
She is. I love watching her race. She really gives it everything. She's really emotional with her bike riding, so passionate about it, and I love that. She gives it everything. She lives and breathes cycling. Her boyfriend Taylor Finney, incredible rider himself, and I think it's nice they can share, training, and yeah, one that gives everything out there on the road. And I think she's having a great Giro so far. Yesterday's performance was fantastic. I know she was quite disappointed last year, so she's come in, fresh year, new ambitions, and she's having a fantastic race so far.
Because her progress over the last few seasons when she turned professional, then she had that standout ride in the Women's Tour in Great Britain where she went on the attack on the first day, and it was almost like everyone just sort of woke up to her and were like, all right, we're not going to let you do that again. and then sort of kind of suffered for it a little bit. But now she's really had a great season. Ashley Moorman, though, crosses the line here, 24th. For Ashley Moorman, 27 minutes and 59 seconds for the South African. That's she's going to be disappointed with that.
Wow, I'm really surprised actually. That's such a shame for Ashley Moorman-Passio, because that's such a lot of time to try and get back. So yeah, really disappointed for her. Not a great ride today.
At that point as well, because we've still got riders to finish. We'll be expecting Cassia Nuviadoma here to do a strong performance for Team Canyon SRAM. Her teammate Hannah Barnes just did lead a little bit earlier on in the day. It was a good ride by her. She did a 27 minutes and 11 seconds ride. She did set one of the early benchmark times. Silvia Valsecchi was also one of the early pace setters for quite a while. A good ride again by Hannah Barnes in a time trial. She's been sacrificing a lot for Cassia Nuviadoma over the previous days. Looking now at the time lost yesterday for Nuviadoma, she's a gutsy, aggressive rider. We've still got plenty of hilltop finishes to come where she could take time back on the World Time Trial Champion and the Malia Rosa.
Yeah, and I think yesterday it was all about seeing how everyone felt, seeing how good Annemiek van Vleuten was going to be. Today we'll be giving it everything. You can see Annemiek van Vleuten out on the course today. And then leading into the last few days, it might be a chance for people to give it a go.
When you look at Annemiek here, her head's up and down. She's out on the extensions. As she said in social media this morning, that she had to do a similar ride to yesterday. We talk all the time, don't we? We've heard it ever since I remember it, you know, because you probably weren't born then. But when error bars and everything first came out, it was all about stay there, stay down, stay aero. And, you know, her head's going up and down. It's all power here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And she's given it everything. And she knows what she has to do to get the most power out and essentially go as fast as she can up this climb. And if that means not being in the aero bars, then so be it. And yeah, you're seeing here, she doesn't look that solid, but I'm telling you now, it will be a solid ride.
Look at the power now. And last year, we think back to that mountain time trial last year, she was the only rider to ride the time trial bike last year. Look at the effort, the sweat dripping off Annemiek van Vleuten on that world champions bike. Now she goes down into that aero tuck position, pulled forward on the saddle, and now just shifts back. Looking good today in that Malia Rosa as a race leader, looking to try and just build more time, get more time in the bag over her rivals on days to come, because we're expecting many teams to go on the offensive, because they won't just sit back, as you've said, and let her have this.
No, not now. And I think, you know, after today, if she does take more time out of the riders, it'll kind of be an all or nothing to lose then going into the last few stages, especially for the ones that aren't in a position to get a podium. They'll be going for that stage victory and trying to catch Annemiek van Vleuten out. I'm not sure how they'll be able to do it looking at her form, but I'm hoping that some teams will try and give it a go.
Looking at her form and looking at her team, you know, Amanda Spratt, Lucy Kennedy, Grace Brown, Sarah Roy and Monique Teniglo, they've brought the A-team here, because to win the Giro, you need that strong team behind you.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's great now in women's cycling, you're seeing that they go in with a plan. The year before, they would have been on training camps, looked at the course as soon as the course comes out, and, you know, decided how they were going to ride, the team composition that were going to ride, and what their roles would be within the team to make sure that this lady wins again the Giro.
Annemiek van Vleuten, you can see just constantly now just shifting back in the saddle, just trying to get into that position. You see that bike, all of the aero bars fully moulded on this one, but Annemiek van Vleuten absolutely flying at the moment. She's got the time of Anna van der Breggen that she has to beat at the line. So 2 times world time trial champion, the rainbow stripes are on the bike. And again, for her, you have to ride the jersey of the organisers, don't you? So, you know, she hasn't got her own skin suit that she would want in this one.
No, and it's a funny one because you want to be as aero as you can, but of course, what a privilege to be in this pink skin suit. I don't think she'd mind too much. I think the morale of having it on will outweigh the small potential aero gains, and sometimes the teams will bring their own skin suits to be made up. So
You'd see just a little bit baggy around some points compared to her speed suit that she would have. But look at the power now. She's chasing Anna van der Breggen's time all the way up towards the line now for Annemiek van Vleuten. Again, absolutely phenomenal position on that bike. Shifts now her hands out to take this corner, pushing it to the limit here. She'll again on her course recce that she did before this year's Giro, and she's got the rider that started in front of her in her sights. Cassia Nieuwedoma might just be about to get some company in the form of Annemiek van Vleuten. 300 meters to go up towards the line, and she's about to catch the rider that started in front of her. Look at this big sprint up towards the line. Nieuwedoma, I'm sure, will hear the charge of the rider behind. 200 meters to go now. Annemiek van Vleuten, she wants to try and catch that rider in front of her. Cassia Nieuwedoma just moves across very slightly. Annemiek van Vleuten up the inside. It's like a sprint finish on a normal stage. But 31.87 for Annemiek van Vleuten. And another stage victory, and an absolutely phenomenal ride from the world champion.
Wow, that was incredible. Another 53 seconds taken out of second place here in the Giro. I think she'll be really, really happy with that. And Cassia Nieuwedoma, I think that would have been, you know, one of her targets going into this time trial, to not be caught by Van Vleuten, and she hasn't up until that very end, which I think she'll be really happy with her performance on that time trial as well.
Microphone's getting pushed in there for Annemiek van Vleuten, but it might take her a while to recover.
That's not really what you want straight after the time trial. Camera and microphone straight in your face. Yeah, as you can see, she's dead. She's given it everything. I think she'll be super happy.
There's confirmation of your top 10. Annemiek van Vleuten takes it by 52 seconds from Anna van der Breggen. Elisa Longa-Borghini comes in at 1:48. Brand Labous, Nieuwedoma, Hall, Spratt, Wiles and Magnaudi is your top 10, but 2:24 separating them. This is how the general classification looks going into tomorrow's stage. Van Vleuten now leading by 4:16 over Nieuwedoma and Anna van der Breggen, who moves up to third. 6 minutes and 34 seconds now separating the top 10.
I worked so hard for this. Also training with the guys, and went on altitude and super optimal prepared with my team. And I think every year when I target Giro, 2017 for the first time, yeah, I learn also, and I try to take it to the next year. So that's why I maybe after 2 years of targeting, I become an alien a little bit.
So what about the next 4 days? What do you expect from your rivals?
I take it day by day. So it's not over till Sunday, and I take it day by day. I need to be very focused, and I also know I recon the stages. I know what's coming up. And it's not easy, so especially the next 3 days. So it's just we take it day by day and keep focused. But it's good. My other teammates, Menno Svet is very strong. Dus again, he's really strong uphill. So it's very good to have 3 strong rides uphill, and also have 3 engines on the flat. So I'm confident we can do this.
Onto the podium, Annemiek van Vleuten now back in her rainbow jersey. She is the winner of today's Stage 6 time trial. Few issues with the Astoria Prosecco today. And again, someone who really knows how to let the Prosecco fly. She's done it a few times. Another day. The second day in this year's race in the Giro Rosa. Are we seeing the final wearer of that in this year's Giro? Back onto the podium for the Cyclamen Points jersey. We're going to see her a couple of times more this afternoon. So extends her lead in the points classification. Juliette Labous, one of the only competitions not led by Annemiek van Vleuten in this race. The best young rider, looking phenomenal is the Team Sunweb rider. Onto the podium again for the Queen of the Mountains, green jersey. And again, quite a commanding lead that she has in that classification, leading her teammates Amanda Spratt and Lucinda Brand by 14 points. Elisa Longa Borghini, great ride by the Italian today. She pulls on another blue jersey as the best Italian rider. 2 days, 2 stage victories for Annemiek van Vleuten. Post-race interview there, as we'd expect. She's calling herself the alien now.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. 52 seconds again, leading over second place today in the time trial. It was perfect for her. Basically the same scenario as yesterday, 100% from bottom to top, clearly in fine form with 4 stages to go.
When you look at that ride though, the effort that she was making, she was absolutely on the limit, wasn't she? The way you saw when she crossed the line, when they were, as you do, try and get an interview as soon as they crossed the line, but the way she did, it showed that effort that she made.
Yeah, for sure. And she said herself though, she's put in the work for this, so you know it's all paying out for her this year in the Giro. She's been on training camps with the men's team, she's put herself in altitude camps on her own, and again, like I said, it's paying off and she's on her way to the victory.
Few people that lost some time today, Ashley Moolman-Pasio in particular, she's going to be disappointed with that ride.
Yeah, it's such a shame. I'm really surprised with that ride actually. Ashley Moolman-Pasio is usually really up there in these mountain time trials, a great climber. So yeah, that's such a shame for her and she's going to have to try something now.
Looking at those time gaps now going into tomorrow, and Annemiek said herself, she's taking it day by day in this race. She knows that she's prepared. The rivals now in that top 10, you know, they've got to just go on the offensive, haven't they?
Yeah, they're going to have to. They're going to really have to race it out. And I don't think any of them will be, you know, leaving it out to Annemiek van Vleuten to say she's kind of won already. I think they'll be going for it. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do to try and beat her.
Okay, tomorrow's stage. It's a lumpy one. Let's have a look at tomorrow's stage map. Stage 7 will take the riders 128.3 kilometers from Cornedo Vicentino to San Giorgio di Pellena, Fara Vicentino. And a route of small circuits, plenty of climbs along the route before we get a hilltop finish. Maximum gradient on tomorrow's stage, 14.7%. Looking though, Danny, at that route, tomorrow, would you say we could see those sort of long range attacks potentially from the riders that might be a little bit further down in the top 10?
Yeah, I think you will see a break in tomorrow's race for sure. Maybe not the riders in the top 20. I don't think they'll be left to go. But a really lumpy day, over 2,000 metres of elevation. So it's still going to be, you know, a solid day out there, even though there's no real substantial climbs. And then obviously a summit finish, which I'm always excited to see. I think you're going to see attacks right from the bottom again.
Another great day here in the Giro Rosa. Don't forget, we've got our Team WNT Rotor competition. So remember, you can see the link on the screen now. It's gcn.eu/win-WNT. And we have 5 of these WNT Rotor jerseys to give away. And as I said, we're going to announce that at the end of our extended highlights on Sunday. And you just have to answer that question about Erica Magnaudi. Was she a doctor, a dentist, or a vet? Good luck with that. Danny and I will be back with you tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying our coverage here on GCN Racing. Have a great day. Bye for now.